Well, great. My wife's breakfast go-to is a toasted Village Hearth English muffin. We can save $1 on each. Go to countryhearthbreads.com/coupons and print 1 or 2 out before your next shopping trip. And don't forget, Country Hearth, Village Hearth, and Artisan Hearth Bread products are baked locally and delivered fresh daily.
Hop into Easter brunch at the Box Elder Event Center on Sunday, April 20th from 10 to 2. Indulge in a brunch buffet full of favorites like Eggs Benedict, French toast, salmon, beef tips, and so much more. The kids will love the bounce houses, face painting, balloon art, and photos with the Easter Bunny. Heroes save 20%. Military, first responders, and teachers use exclusive coupon codes. Reservations are required. Grab your tickets now at thebox.live.
Sprocket's Fun Foundry. Giant fun for everyone. Immerse yourself in another world with virtual reality. Play the newest arcade games for the lanes. Sprocket's Fun Foundry. Always family-friendly fun. Something for everyone. Birthdays and parties. Online at Sprockets.fun. Sprocket's Fun Foundry. Giant fun for everyone.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
ESPN reports that the league is looking into Memphis guard John Morant making finger gun motions towards the Golden State Warriors bench during their game last night, and that the league is also looking into a prior gesture that was made by Golden State's Buddy Hield. In Major League Baseball, multiple outlets report Arizona Diamondbacks All-Star second baseman Ketel Marte has agreed to a new 6-year, $116 million extension. Earlier today on the field, the St. Louis Cardinals catcher Ivan Herrera had 3 home runs and 6 RBI in their 12-5 win over the Angels. Bryce Terang's RBI squeeze bunt in the bottom of the 11th gave the Brewers a 3-2 win over the Kansas City Royals. Paul Skeens' 7 scoreless innings in Pittsburgh's 4-2 victory at Tampa Bay. Right now, the Mets trail the Marlins in Miami 2-1 in the bottom half of the 5th. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, here we are back on a Wednesday. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show, where it's always a great day in South Dakota. Welcome in the Nate Brown Show live. This is Fox Sports Radio, the best lineup of sports talk. You know that. Fox Sports Radio live right now and also on X. Bring us up at Nate Brown Show. So follow the show. Stream us live on X right now at Nate Brown Show. One more place, YouTube channel is up. Subscribe to the channel, then you can watch us live, and the archive shows are there. If you miss any interviews, go to the Nate Brown Show YouTube channel, The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. Back and ready on a Wednesday, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, getting set for you to come on the program. You know that. We shoot it around a little bit. Thought-provoking sports talk from local, regional to national guests. Let's get you covered, and let's get popping tonight. Let's take a look at it. Guest lineup on this Wednesday. Craig Maddox going to drop in. We got to get to Craig tonight. East River, West River hitter with Craig Maddox, SDPB Sports. He's straight ahead. Jake Shapiro's on tonight from Denver. Covered the Nuggets game last night. I think people aren't talking about it enough. I know it's just early April. The NBA season has 2 weeks left. People are, what's going on in the NBA? Nikola Jokic just went off, and I think it's overshadowed. I mean, people haven't even hardly touched this. Jake Shapiro covered the game last night where Jokic went off, and I just want to get into that whole piece. Why doesn't Jokic get any attention? If this was LeBron James, we would have lost our minds. And I'm not talking 40-year-old LeBron. I'm just talking any time. If LeBron would have done what Jokic did last night, we would have lost our minds. You would have heard everybody on Fox Sports Radio and across the media atmosphere just go crazy. So what's the deal there? I'm going to get into it. Jake Shapiro, Denver Sports. He was at the Nuggets Wolves game last night. Brian Noah's on tonight. Fox Sports Radio national host Brian Noah's on tap. And Wayne Sullivan drops by. Former St. Thomas More head football coach, made the Dome numerous times. A lot of wins in his career. Over 30 years. One school, St. Thomas More, just inducted into the South Dakota High School Coaches Association Hall of Fame. So Wayne Sullivan just got inducted this past weekend. He will come on, talk about his football coaching career. Busy show on a Wednesday, the Nate Brown Show, inviting you on. I said, let's get you on. So let's get this going here. 605-720-1067. That's the Pizza Ranch studio hotline. One more time, 605-720-1067. Direct line into the program. The Pizza Ranch studio hotline powered by the Pizza Ranch. 3809 East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. So Sioux Falls East, also in Brandon, and 2 locations in Rapid City. It's the Pizza Ranch Buffet, home of everyone's favorite buffet, or locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. Get in on the hotline there. And the Barron's Wilson text line ready to go. Open for you, 605-720-1067. Always open for you. The Barron's Wilson text line, 605-720-1067. Okay, a couple of things to start with today. A couple of things I want to start with today, and just something that I've been thinking about since our interview yesterday with Matthew Morse. So if you missed yesterday at all, we wanted to go inside the South Dakota State basketball program. I thought it'd be good. I've known Matthew over the years, and thought I'm going to get the Jacks senior on to kind of discuss the perspective. He's been through quite a bit. He went to Wisconsin. He transferred back to South Dakota State. Now he's one of the older guys, one of the veteran guys, and now he loses a coach in Eric Henderson. Then the new coach is put in, the assistant Brian Peterson. So I wanted to talk to Matthew Morse. How's this all feel in this new era of college basketball where coaches are leaving? Yes. I mean, that's happened over the years. Coaches leave, boom, you got to adjust and be ready. But how about the players on top of it? Now players can leave very easily. And so I wanted to get that perspective yesterday. And if you missed the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. The full interview's there. You can search the Nate Brown Show and you can get the podcast. But one of my takeaways from Matthew Morse, it was a well-spoken guy. I love talking to him, hearing his perspective yesterday on the current state of the Jacks basketball program and how the changes, how does he adjust here. I asked him about the players leaving. And this has happened the last couple of years. He's been there. You had Zeke Mayo. You had William Kyle. You had these guys leave, even Shireman a couple of years ago to Creighton. So you had these star players leave in the transfer portal, and I asked him, man, you guys, what would that been like to have those guys there? And now on top of it, South Dakota State's losing some players now. Owen Larson, a couple of others. So you're seeing guys leave. There's a coaching change, and so you might expect that, but it's not a massive change. You got an assistant that's been there, part of the program. Brian Peterson steps in. But his perspective, what does it feel like as a player when you're one of the guys staying and then guys are leaving? Guys can leave so easily these days. His perspective, he really talked through it like you can't hold it against guys. He just said, even from a player standpoint where you compete together, you work hard together, you lift together, meetings together, you do all of this stuff in preparation. He said, the guys that are here, even though there's a smaller number of guys now, will fill this gap. And the guys that are here putting in the work, these are the guys now, and you just move forward. And I think that's what I expected him to say. What are you going to say as hey, I'm really mad that these guys... I'm really upset. So what's the right emotion? Matthew Morse said the right things of, I just got to keep my head down. We're going to keep focusing on what we're doing. We were disappointed in the last part of this year in the Summit League tournament. And so here comes Brian Peterson. We're going to keep working and keep battling. I expected that from a player. I got thinking about it over the last 24 hours and said, what is the real emotion like for South Dakota sports fans? Because I'm curious about this. I've never asked this question on the program. You guys that are Jacks, that are Yotes, You guys that are heavily invested in this emotionally, some of you are donors, some of you are alumni. Do you think South Dakota sports fans really care, really get upset when you're seeing players now transfer every year? So this is going on every year. Matthew Morse took it in stride. It's just what happens, and here's who's here, and this is how we're going to go through this thing. I expected that from a player. I want to know, what's the real South Dakota sports fan think? And I wonder what percentage of folks are, because here's what Matt Zimmer wrote, Sioux Falls Live. We get Matt on the show quite a bit. Well, Matt Zimmer just wrote a column, and he said, not necessarily about the players, but he said, the fact that South Dakota State loses coaches, and it's been that trend here after a few years, they get a coach, they lose a coach, and it goes on to a bigger opportunity and a better opportunity, that's okay. His premise of his column basically is, it's okay because that means you've got the right person, they're a high-level coach, and you should take advantage when you have them, and then when they leave, it's next man up, let's get the right person. That's his take from a coach, the coaching standpoint. What about from the player standpoint? Do you guys get upset that players transfer from your team, and namely SDSU and USD? You're going to live this every single year. I asked yesterday, are we just going to have to kind of put together new rosters every single year? And it's not a complete new roster, but I look over there at Sundance Wicks, former Northern State guy. Sundance Wicks is now at Wyoming. He's going to have to do an entirely new team. He just did an entirely new team after he left Green Bay. He left Green Bay to go to Wyoming. He just did a new team. So you look at the Wyoming Cowboys men's basketball program, new team this year, and now an entirely new team again the next year. Is this the type of stuff that fans are going to look at and say, I can't handle this. I'm out. I can't handle this. I'm out on this. Let me ask you that question, okay? Do you get upset? Is it fair to get upset? Because Matthew Morse told me yesterday, I mean, he's never going to be, I mean, he's not going to say if he's really upset or not, but he even went out publicly and kind of congratulated, or at least said good luck to some of the guys that have said, hey, I'm heading out. Now, there's a couple of things that are going on in the transfer portal with SDSU, USD, these schools. Some of these guys come in, the Oscar Cloughs of the world, they make big-time impact, and then, well, of course he's going to go. He was at Washington State before, then he comes to SDSU. Now he gets an opportunity. He's going to go to Purdue, and he's going to cash in on that. Mark Gronowski played all of his years at SDSU. Yes, he could have played another, but he said, I'm going to go to Iowa. And so there's those type of players that fans aren't going to get upset with that. I get that, right? For the most part. Maybe there's a few people that I've seen across, well, I didn't like the Gronowski left Iowa. You don't blame those guys that have put in the time that end up going somewhere like their last year. Maybe people aren't that upset with Haley Timmer. She's been there 4 years, SDSU. I don't know where she's going to end up, but goes to the transfer portal and is going to play college women's basketball somewhere. They're not upset with them. I'm talking about players that are coming in, they're out. They come in, maybe their role isn't as big as they thought, and they think they're gonna head out. And I'm wondering if the USD and SDSU fans are just used to it. It's just the way it is. We're going to have players, and I hope they stay. Like I asked Matt Wilbur the other day, head coach at Northern. I asked him, are you afraid of getting portaled? Or essentially, do you try, what type of things do you look at for guys when you bring them in? Like, well, I think this might not work, so let's just try and go the high school route or something like this. Or do you try and get a guy no matter what? Hey, if he's going to put in a year, 2 years, you just get the guy anyway. And I think that's the game you have to play. Do the fans get upset about it? That's what I want to know. My question of the day tonight. You tell me, do you get upset? Are you actually upset as a South Dakota sports fan as players transfer out of USD and SDSU every year? Because it's going to be the deal, and I think it's probably hitting here later than even some schools. SDSU football was immune to it for a while. SDSU women's basketball really immune to it, and I don't know how hard it's going to hit or not, but now you're starting to see. SDSU men's basketball has been hit hard. USD basketball, hard. You're seeing a lot of transfers every year now, maybe new rosters or at least half of the roster every year. Do fans get upset about that scenario? That's what I want to know. Players say, well, it's hard to blame the players. But I look at it and say, you want them to stick around because you want to connect with the players. You want to get to know the players. That's what fans do. Hey, I'm following this guy. I'm following this girl. They've been with us. They connect with the players. Some people think the model is not going to be sustainable for the fans. New players every year. They don't connect. They're going to get apathy. They're going to start not engaging as much. I'm not saying that today. I'm not going that far today. I don't think that fans are going to get that upset, players leaving every year, and now I'm not a fan. I don't think that's the case, but what do you say? 605-720-1067. Do you get upset as a South Dakota sports fan if players transfer out of SDSU and USD every year? Yes, you really don't like it, or no, you can't let it bother you. Yes, you really don't like it, or no, it doesn't bother me. That's my question of the day. On Twitter, at Nate Brown Show, votes coming in. Man, it's tight. 51% of you say, I really don't like it, the transferring every year. It affects me as a fan. 49% of you say, doesn't affect me, doesn't bother me. You text me on the text line. I'll ask Craig Maddock his thoughts. SDPB Sports, longtime Sioux Falls broadcaster Craig Maddock coming up. The Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Back with Craig next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Save big money on your next bathroom upgrade, now at Menards. Check out our great selection of shower heads from Waterpik. They have innovative, sleek designs with Power Pulse, therapeutic massage for your comfort. Enjoy a better shower experience today with Waterpik. Get a 6-spray handheld shower head on sale now through April 6th. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, Sioux Falls sports fans, there's a great new sports bar in Sioux Falls, Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar on West Russell Street in the Ramada Water Park Hotel. If you want to watch games, UFC, they've got it, wall-to-wall TVs, and the best part, great food. Gourmet pizza at Boston's, tons of wing options, great burgers, and a lot more. Bring the family, bring the team, bring your crew to the new Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar in Sioux Falls on West Russell Street. Plus, you can order online for lunch or dinner. Just go to bostons.com.
Shop the region's largest selection of spirits, wines, and beers at the best prices today at both Mr. Liquor locations in Rapid City. Save $7 on Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, now $23.99. 750 bottles of Jefferson Bourbon reduced $5, now just $29.99. Or take advantage of special pricing on Old Forester Whiskey Row Series Bourbon. Experience the new Mr. Liquor 2 next to Walmart off Catron, or the original location on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Chance for scattered showers this afternoon, otherwise cloudy. High temperatures reach up to 40. Northerly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance for isolated showers, lows around 27. Cloudy skies tomorrow, slight chance of rain showers, highs level off around 50. A dusting of snow Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 37.
Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer from Denny Menholt Toyota. Use your phone. It's fast and easy. Pull up our website, click on Value Trade-In, scan your VIN, and tell us about your car. You are on your way to a no-hassle, no-commitment cash offer on your vehicle in under 5 minutes. Bring your vehicle and your Kelley Blue Book instant cash offer to Denny Menholt Toyota and get cash or trade-in credit today. See you soon at Denny Menholt Toyota, Rapid City.
Rush fans, the final games of the season are here. Don't miss out. Wednesday, April 9th, the Rush versus Utah at 7:05 p.m., presented by Corey's Point S. Friday, April 11th is Youth Sports Night, sponsored by YMCA. We will celebrate local youth sports and recognize the Rushmore Thunder teams. Saturday, April 12th, step into a world of gaming and excitement with Ready Player One Night, presented by KT Connections. There will also be a post-game warm-up jersey auction with proceeds benefiting Folds of Honor. Tickets at RapidCityRush.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Jensen at Physio. We want to be your trusted partner for physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab. As the official strength and conditioning partners for Stevens, Central, Douglas, and the Rapid City Rush, our team at Physio is building the best athletes in the Black Hills. If you have an athlete in the family, we offer long-term athlete development at affordable prices for middle and high school students. We also have the only board-certified sports PT in Rapid City. At our brand new facility, Physio is ready to help you perform at your best. One-on-one physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab, all at one place. Get started at bhphysio.com.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. We have Craig Maddock on tonight. Kicking off the show with Craig. Big time. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. Stream us there at Nate Brown Show on X. If you're on X, you've got us at Nate Brown Show. Follow the show and watch us live. Welcome in studio. Craig Maddock, welcome in. SDPB Sports. Longtime broadcaster. Craig, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for putting me on the A segment of the show. That's pretty good. A lot of pressure.
Every segment is A. I mean, every segment is A. Let's go. By the way, I want to get into this. I had Matthew Morse on yesterday, Yankton star, South Dakota State senior now. Going through changes. Eric Henderson leaves to Drake. They hire the assistant quickly, Brian Peterson. I asked Matthew, what's it feel like, not only the coaching change, but players leave too? He's had to deal with that, lost really a couple of good players last year, losing some players now. He said, hey, it's just how it is. You got to stay dialed in. That's a player perspective. What do you think fans think of players at SDSU and USD transferring every year? There's new players every year. What do you think fans think?
I don't think fans like it at all, especially if it's a really good player. I think they understand the dynamics of the programs today, that the portal, the transfers, coaches leaving. I mean, it happens a lot than it used to in the past, and I think we've all accepted it. We don't like it at all, but it is accepted, and you're just hope it's uncertainty part of it too. I mean, the folks in Brookings, I mean, good grief, with football and certainly men's basketball and maybe even women's basketball on a little bit of a level, there is uncertainty whether that program is going to miss a beat at all, and so there's some uncertainty with it, and people don't like that. And certainly, I think people don't like it when players leave, because I think they are expecting some sort of loyalty as well.
Yeah, I know people like the loyalty. I've asked the question to the audience, do you get upset as a South Dakota sports fan with players transferring every year at SDSU, USD? It's 50-50. I really don't like it, and then some, it doesn't bother me. So it's 50-50.
I know the ones that it does not bother SDSU losing players, and that's the folks at Vermilion. They have no problem.
Yeah, I know that.
With those players leaving.
I know that. What do you think about Eric Henderson going to Drake? Nobody's really surprised by it. Big step up for him?
Yes. It's one of those programs where there's money involved, and there's a big step up in cash for the coach. I think all of us would seriously take a look at any job. If we're looking at a big-time raise in the position, we'd certainly seriously look at it. This one has kind of been predicted for a while. I had heard even during state basketball that that thing was going to get done and that Hendo was going to head off to Drake.
All right, Craig Maddock on tonight, SDPB Sports, longtime sports broadcaster. I want to go to a high school topic and get your perspective. So yesterday in North Dakota, 6 schools petitioned their activities association in North Dakota to stay in their own classification even though they're supposed to move up. They're supposed to move up. They petitioned, say, we want to stay here even though we've won and stuff. We want to stay here. They granted those to stay in their own class. I brought this to South Dakota. Do you believe schools in this state should petition the Activities Association more to move down like a Rapid City Central football program? Why don't schools do this more?
Well, I think they have to have proof and a legitimate reason to move down. There's only one school that I know that has been successful with that, and that is Hamlin. Hamlin is a classification higher than where they play, especially football. It's mainly because there are a number of the male athletes that do not go out for sports because of religious reasons. And so that's why they were granted the opportunity to move down. But if a school has some proof and reasons, why not? I don't think it'll help much, but it wouldn't hurt to try.
What's the proof? I've got Rapid City Central hasn't won a postseason game in 20 years. Is that proof for you?
Yeah, I know. But still, they go by the ADM, average daily membership, and if you've got so many kids, you're in that classification, and let's face it, Rapid City Central is not going to be falling down to Class A because of certainly enrollment.
Okay, Craig, couple more. I'll let you run. I know you got to go. Let me ask you about high school baseball. Here's the feeling I'm getting. I talked to Dan Swartos. He said the subcommittee looked at high school baseball and how it was being run, how it was being done, and what people thought of it. Dan Swartos said it's being done really well. I get the feeling that sanctioning high school baseball is a ways out from that statement. What do you hear?
Yeah, I just don't think there is momentum with baseball. I told you before, it all comes down to Legion ball. If Legion baseball accepted high school ball and the ramifications that go with it, it would go. But Legion baseball is I'll call it being a stickler. They don't want too many high school programs that would affect what they do. And I just don't see it happening. If Legion baseball said, yeah, you have our blessing, I think it has a chance of happening.
Craig Maddock, I'll let you run with this. The ADs are meeting in Chamberlain right now. One subcommittee report they're looking at is a success factor, which has been researched by a subcommittee. That would be Rapid City Central hasn't won this many games. They could move down. Douglas football, same story. They could move down. Is a success factor better? Here's the formula rather than petitioning school by school. Success factor, what do you say?
I am willing to take a look at it, no doubt. I would love to see what it is. Hey, we've tried all sorts of different things when it comes to high school sports, and that might be one where let's give it a shot, let's see what it looks like, and see what effect it has, if any, and go from there.
Craig Maddock rolling tonight, SDPB Sports, longtime broadcaster. His podcast is In Play. Craig, good to have you as always. Thanks a lot.
All right, Nate, thanks. See ya.
Appreciate it. Craig Maddock in tonight, SDPB Sports, longtime sports broadcaster from Sioux Falls. His podcast In Play on SDPB Sports. So there's a couple of high school things that I want to expand on here. A couple of high school sports nuggets that I want to expand on. The ADs are meeting right now in Chamberlain. So the activities director have their conference. They're meeting in Chamberlain, having some nice vegetable medley and chicken and stuff like this. It's very good, very good. So they're doing the meetings, and they're talking about all the big topics. And the hot topic session was today. The hot topic session was sanctioning baseball. A subcommittee looked at What would this take? How is it being operated? How is it being run? And my early read there was Dan Swartos of the Activities Association last week here on this show said, boy, all the stuff I've seen here and everything we looked at, the subcommittee looked at baseball, it's really running pretty well. You know, the Baseball Association does a great job. There's people that are happy with that. So I'm going to tell you, I don't think there's huge momentum from schools, the Baseball Association, the Activities Association to sanction baseball. So I don't think you're going to get a high school baseball sanctioning anytime soon. That's my guess. We'll see what the ADs kind of found out today from the baseball discussion. That's my guess. Then one was the success factor. So this is one I've tried to trumpet just from covering high school sports over all these years. You guys have followed this. There's programs that have dominated. There's programs that can't even win. So the success factor, some states have a formula that adds in the winning and the losing to determine should you move down a class and should you be made to go up a class. There's states that have done this success factor, and South Dakota is talking about that today at the AD's meeting. That's one of the hot topics. That's a subcommittee as well. They looked at how would this all work. I don't know how deep they would go, but I just explained it to you how the success factor would work. That's where you would say, hey, it's easy to see. Douglas Patriots football, they haven't done enough winning, and I mean, it's been for years and years. So they would be able to move down to 11A. That would be an example. Rapid City Central football. I love their coach at Central now. He's doing a nice job getting some excitement, building a culture, but it takes a long time. You got to turn that ship around in football. It's a long time. Roster building and the whole thing, the depth chart. And Rapid City Central would, if you looked at their success factor in whatever formula you had, they would move down to AA. And so I don't see what the problem would be of moving teams down that shown they have not been competitive at all. I mean, at all. It's not like they've won half of their games are not even close. I mean, they haven't been competitive at all. What's the pushback on adding a success factor into South Dakota classification formula with enrollment? Right now, we just use enrollment. We tell everybody, you have a big enrollment, you should be good at football. Listener text here coming in. Listener text, it's a hard argument to say Rapid City Central or Stevens could go down when they are two of the top 10 biggest schools in the state. Same goes for the Sioux Falls schools. I would think some of the medium-sized schools, Sturgis, Huron, would be completely against that. Well, that's the thing. I'm telling you, the big part of the schools, the enrollment number, has not factored into wins. The enrollment number has not factored in. We get all these great football players and great winning. It's not just 2 years, 5 years. It's decades. Rapid City Central's had a couple of bumps over the last 20 years. Honestly, I've been here. I've seen it. Rapid City Central's had a couple of bumps. They've won some games a couple of times. Otherwise, it's been tough sledding. Douglas, they had a couple of bumps. Coach Machachek was out there, had a couple of bumps. It's been tough sledding. Success factor would show you why teams could go down. Because I was talking about it yesterday. Otherwise, do you just have to petition like the North Dakota schools just did in basketball? There's teams that say, hey, we don't want to move up a class. We want to stay where we're at. We're going to petition, and hopefully they'll let us do that. I was told yesterday you don't want to have teams petition all the time. So, hey, feel sorry for us. We should be able to move down. So my deal is I hope the ADs in Chamberlain today seriously look at that success factor and say, should we at least add this success factor? Let's try it for a 4-year cycle. Let's try it for 4 years to see if that would help more competitive games for some of these programs that could move down. I know people say, well, I don't want teams to move up. I don't want you to force Pierre to move up. I don't want you to force this school to move up. That's where it gets dicey in South Dakota. I've heard from quite a few folks that say, well, you can move down. I don't want to be forced to move up. A winner doesn't want to go to 11A. That's an example, okay? Winner winning in 11B. They would have a high enough percentage to have to move up, maybe. They don't want to move up. That's the argument. But let's take a look. The ADs talked about it today in Chamberlain, the hot topics issue. What else? I mean, I wish Matt Kearney, the producer of the Nate Brown Show, would have submitted a hot topics segment for the ADs. He could have done that himself. He could have done that. By the way, Matt Kearney, researcher, found a high school sports story today, a little under the radar. Speaking of teams moving up and down and things like that, we're going to get into that. There's a high school in South Dakota. Get this. There's a team. This is a pretty proud history. They're not going to have a football varsity team. Okay, they've been struggling there. Girls basketball, boys basketball. These guys are really struggling. What do you do there in small schools like this one? We'll get to that coming up. Coming right back, we'll go to Brian Noe, one of the great national guests, Fox Sports Radio, host of Countdown on the weekends here on Fox Sports Radio. Brian Noe on tap on the way.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
The South Dakota Lottery is all about good fun, but too much fun is not good fun, like too much ice cream. Brain freeze is not fun, or roller coasters. Good fun! Or lottery games. Too much fun is not good fun. That's why the South Dakota Lottery reminds you to always play only for fun. And if you can't, help is available and always confidential. Because too much fun is not good fun. Play responsibly. Keep the fun good. Learn more at keepthefungood.com.
Whether you're a pro or a Joe, a weekend warrior or a gardening great, Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here when you need us. Nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for everyday athletes like you.
Spring is in the air, and so are the savings at Highmark Credit Union. Ready to hit the road this season? How about a new ride with a new car loan at unbeatable low rates for qualified borrowers? At Highmark Credit Union, you can drive away with low rates, flexible terms, and the freedom to make every trip to Highmark. Or on the road feel like a spring vacation. So, what are you waiting for? Spring into action today with a car loan from Highmark today. Visit highmarkfcu.com or stop by and see us. The road to savings starts here. We'll make it happen. Terms and conditions apply. Visit highmarkfcu.com for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Ever dreamed of building something amazing? Builders First Source in Rapid City, Spearfish, and Hot Springs is your go-to building materials partner. Whether you're building new or giving new life to an old space, we provide step-by-step guidance from drafting and cabinetry design to lifelike visualization and top-quality materials. It's your vision, and we're here to make it real. Visit BLDR.com. Builders First Source, your Black Hills partner in building every step of the way.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family memories with a new or pre-owned RV from Dakota Discount RV. We make your RV experience fun and easy by providing you with a quality recreational vehicle, competitive pricing, and professional sales and service. Our large inventory of fifth-wheelers, travel trailers, toy haulers, and live-in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
All right, we're rolling on a Wednesday, right? On the Nate Brown Show. Thanks for being here. Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Thanks for making the show possible across South Dakota. We appreciate you tuning in. Remember, if you want to stream us live, we're on X right now, at Nate Brown Show. If you miss any parts of the show, Matthew Morse yesterday, South Dakota State senior, took us inside the program, coaching change, and where the Jacks go from here. If you miss parts of the show at all, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. Every show's there, so Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you download podcasts, search The Nate Brown Show, and then you've got every show. You can look who's on, where, when, you've got it. Brian Noe is on tonight. I listen to him on the weekends. I hope you guys do. I mean, come on. And then we put him on a prime timer on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Brian Noe is the host of Countdown here on Fox Sports Radio. Brian, what's going on tonight? How are you?
I'm great, Nate Brown. Thank you for the prime time invitation. I love that, and I do have a question for you. Are you the owner of a lonely heart? I would like to know that.
Not necessarily. Sometimes I will tell you, but not necessarily. I try and get lonely sometimes. I got to have my own peace sometimes. I got to have some peace. By the way, let me get your read of this. Final Four, Saturday night, men's Final Four. It's all number one teams. So you're a betting guy. It's all chalk. How does your bracket look?
My bracket looks fantastic, Nate. I sucked in the early rounds, which I typically do, but every now and then I do okay in the later rounds, and that's where you get the most points. I don't know if I've ever done this, Nate, but I did go all one seeds. I thought it was going to be a very chalky tournament, and that's what we have. And in my bracket, I have Florida and Duke going to the championship game, and I've got the Dukies. I've got Duke winning it all, so right now it's intact. You might want to talk to me later Saturday night. I don't know if it's going to be intact after these games are played, but as of right now, I've got a fighting chance.
Okay, I'm with you. I did all number one seeds. I don't know if I've ever done that either. So I did number one seeds. I mean, we can trumpet our horn here a little bit. But I went Auburn and Duke. And by the way, I'm a Dukie. I do not pick them to win. I think it's bad. It's bad vibes. So I picked Auburn to win. So that's where we differ. I'm going Auburn-Duke making the national title. Are you intrigued by the men's Final Four? It's my question of the day, Brian Noe, meaning you're really intrigued, you're really juiced for Saturday night.
Absolutely. I don't know how you couldn't be. How can you be a basketball fan and not be fired up for this? You've got the biggest of the big boys taking on each other in the Final Four. How does that not excite you? I get that some people would like some more upsets earlier on, but if Colorado State beat Maryland, you'd be more fired up for the Final Four. That just doesn't make any sense to me. These are great matchups, whether we had first round or second round upsets. So a lack of those upsets has you whatever, shoulder shrug. Really? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. So, yeah, I'm completely fired up for this. These are the baddest teams in college basketball this season, in a good way. We're going back to, 1980-something Michael Jackson bad, meaning good. These are the baddest teams on the block. And you don't have time, you're not interested, you're not excited. That's the biggest layup there is. If that's a poll question, I'm hammering the yes. Are you kidding me? Of course I'm fired up for this.
I am with you on that, and my audience, 77% say yes, great teams. 23% say no, I wanted different teams.
Well, those are the 23% whose brackets are busted there, Nate Brown. They had New Mexico. They had the Lobos making a startling run as a double-digit seed to the Final Four or something like that. You know, those are the brackets are complete. I guarantee you, there's not one of those 23% that has a bracket that's got a chance to win whatever pool they're in. There's no way. There's no way. That's leading to I'm not that excited about this. It's got to be fueled by something other than these matchups themselves.
Brian, should we be upset about the coaches that have left their programs? Scott Van Pelt, and I know he's a Maryland guy, so that might be part of it. He said it was terrible how Kevin Willard left Maryland and is going to Villanova. He just went off. And then he had Texas A&M Buzz Williams. He's leaving. Should we be upset as sports fans when coaches are heading out, transferring essentially at the drop of a hat?
It's case by case, Nate. It really does matter what the context is, because I'll go to football. I'm a Notre Dame football fan. South Bend is my hometown. I bleed Irish football. And when Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU, I'm like, I get it. I'm not that upset about it. I thought he did a great job at Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman's now doing a better job, so it's worked out. But at the time, I'm like, hey, man, I get it. You go to the SEC, Notre Dame's got these academic restrictions. The context leads me to think, okay, I understand why he's going there. Now, I don't know why he developed a fake Southern accent to try to fit in. It hasn't gone swimmingly for him ever since leaving, but there are a lot of fans of their school that think it's the biggest, baddest school ever, and how dare you leave us? Like, you're breaking up with us? That's the attitude that they have. But I think the context matters. And Willard was like, we need NIL dollars. Wins aren't just going to fall from the sky. Like, I need full support from this administration and from this school. And if he felt he wasn't getting it and had to go somewhere else to get it, okay, that's context right there. But that's common, Nate. A lot of fans of their team, they get very offended and in their feelings when someone leaves them. But the context of why they're leaving sometimes makes sense.
Which change would you want most in college sports? Here's the two. A cap on the NIL money per team. Like, you got to put a cap on it, or you can't transfer as easy as it is. Like, boom, I'm out every single year. Which one would help the college sports landscape?
It's got to be the money. You always say it, follow the money. And think about the NFL, right? Like, you have a hard salary cap and you have free agency. And you see these one-year deals. There are a number of players that are on one-year deals, and they might do that year after year. You might see them sign a one-year deal here and then a one-year deal there. That does happen. But what's always in place is there's a hard salary cap, and that drives parity in the NFL. So just imagine if you didn't have a hard salary cap and then you put some restrictions on free agency. So like the Eagles, they don't have a hard salary cap. They can re-sign Josh Sweat and Milton Williams and everybody else that they've lost this year because there's a hard salary cap, that pushes teams toward the middle. So it worked the same way in college football or whatever college sport you want to talk about. But football, basketball are the big ones. If there's some sort of basically a salary cap for each team and you can only spend X amount of dollars, that's going to put a limit on the top teams with the deepest pockets, and that's going to help the little guys out more. That would make a much bigger difference than transfer restrictions. I would say it's some type of salary cap with the money.
Do you ever think the big boys will go for a salary cap? Because right now they're owning everybody.
Well, that's the thing. They don't have to. It's like there are no cops around. Like, really, you're asking let's take the highway, Nate, on the highway, you can basically drive as fast as you want to. There are no cops in sight. There's no NCAA with any real jurisdiction on this thing. So you can drive as fast as you want. Nate, you can drive 125. I can drive 130. We can go as fast as we want. And we're asking these schools to basically police themselves. They're not gonna. They're gonna go as fast as they want to. So No, they're not going to put anything in place. The teams that have the deepest pockets, they're going to try to keep spending and outspending everybody else. That's just the way it's going to go, and no one's going to go for it unless they're forced to. You're only driving 70 on the highway because you're forced to. Like, if you're not forced to, you're going triple digits without even thinking about it most of the time. So that's the way it is in college. Without someone making them, they're not going to do anything on their own accord. They're just going to try to outspend everybody else and win as much as possible.
Brian Noe joining us tonight. Listen to him on Fox Sports Radio on the weekends. The show is Countdown. A couple more. I'll let him roll. Let's go to the NFL. I want Brian Noe's read on talking some ball. They're going to change the overtime again, and I'm losing track. So now in the regular season, both teams are going to get the ball no matter what, even if a team scores a TD. But now both teams are going to get the ball, and they lowered the time down to 10 minutes. I just had an NFL writer on yesterday. He said, here's what's going to happen. We're going to have all these ties. We're going to have 10 minutes. Teams are going to get the ball. They're going to go back and forth. We're going to have more ties. Do you believe that?
No, I don't think so, because we've had the 10-minute thing. That I don't know how long that's been around. It's been a year or two where they've had it at 10. So you'll sometimes see that. You'll see the first team get the ball, and they'll go on this long drive, maybe 8-9 minutes, and try to extinguish all that time. So, I mean, I don't think so necessarily. What the other part of it, I think, when you're guaranteed a possession, provided that Team A doesn't take all 10 minutes and kick a field goal at the end as time expires. Like, if there's time left and you get a shot, yeah, I could see, hey, if you need a field goal to tie it up, and you can bang a 55-yarder at the buzzer and tie it, that's better than a loss. Or if you're chasing a touchdown, yeah, I could see that both teams possessing the ball. I think that part of it could lead to more ties. But the time on the clock, I don't know how many years. We've had that for a little bit, Nate. But, yeah, both teams getting the ball, there's a better likelihood that you're going to see more ties just based on that alone, sure.
You don't want ties.
I think the interesting thing, though, Nate, is we're like back in college almost. So if your Broncos score a touchdown and like my Dolphins score a touchdown, do you go for two? Do you risk the loss to get a win, or do you play for the tie? That might enter into this whole thing.
Yeah, you're going to play for the tie. And just watch, Brian. No, you're going to be talking countdown to kickoff. You're going to have all these ties. What fun is that? I love the ties. Last one, tush push gets tabled. There were 16 teams that said, yes, we'll do it. We want to ban the tush push. You need 24 to change the rule. So they tabled it. Then the Packers tweaked it and said, not just the tush push, so let's not just single out the Eagles. Let's also ban the offensive lineman from advancing a runner down the field, forward down the field. I actually liked that. I don't like the Hogs picking up a runner and taking him over the goal line. So where are you standing here?
Yeah, man, it's these Packers over here. You can tell that they don't do the tush push themselves, huh? Like, they're all against it. Look, man, I just look at it where this is football. Find a way to stop it. Like this idea that, hey, Philly is really good and hard to stop at this, and so is Buffalo, and there are a couple of teams that do a good job. Well, okay. So if we play that game, hey, Mahomes has had some prolific seasons. Like when he had Tyreek Hill, should we just ban passes over 40 yards downfield because the Chiefs were really good at that for a while? You know what I mean? Like, this is the essence of football. Like, sometimes teams are really good at doing certain things, and you're just out of luck, or you got to come up with something to try to slow them down. But this, to me, is just so weak, where it's a bunch of whining, and they're just too powerful. That's basically what people are whining. They're too powerful here. We can't deal with the power of the Eagles. It's like, it is just so lame to be whining like that. Figure it out. Do whatever you have to do to try to stop them. And if you can't, live with the end result and stop sounding so whiny over it. That's what I say about the tush-push and assisting runners and all of this ridiculousness. It's a bunch of grown men acting like they're 2 years old and just whining because they need their diaper changed. I don't know when you outgrow diapers there, Nate. I'm not sure what the age is, but it sounds like they need their diapers changed and they're whining about it.
I could keep going on this, but I won't. I could keep going, but I won't. Brian Noe finishes off strong with a man diaper reference. Fox Sports Radio, the show is Countdown. Brian Noe, thanks for your time as always.
Hey, man, Nate, always good hanging with you, bud. You have a great evening, and hopefully you don't have to change any diapers this evening. I don't know if you have any little ones running around right now.
No, I do not. I do not. Good luck on your Final Four. Brian Noe takes Florida Duke. I go Auburn Duke. We both have all number one seeds in our Final Four. Should we? I mean, I'm going to take a bow. Take a bow. Brian Noe on tonight. Fox Sports Radio, host of Countdown on the weekends here on Fox Sports Radio. Find him on Twitter at The Noe Show. No, I'm one of the man diaper guys. I'm one of the man diaper guys. He said just stop the tush push. You can't stop it because it's an unfair advantage of the offense. Two players behind the quarterback pushing him forward, and they know the snap count. So they get a head start. You can't stop it. So that's my kicker. And then, no, I don't want the Hogs carrying my running back forward. That's another advancing the runner, unfair advantage. You used to not be able to do it in the NFL. Now they just allowed it. So I never thought I'd be told I wore man diapers, but you never know. My good friend Brian Noe, thanks for that. Thank you for that. So the NFL owners, 16 of them said we want to ban the tush push yesterday. That's not enough. They tabled it to May. So I'll bring Brian back. We might just have an entire tush push segment. Wouldn't that be joyful for you? Coming right back, let's take a look at our question of the day. Do you get upset as a South Dakota sports fan when players are transferring every year now from SDSU and USD? Do you get upset? I just want to get your read. 605-720-1067 is the Barron's Wilson text line on the Nate Brown Show. 605-720-1067. Do you get upset as a South Dakota sports fan when SDSU and USD players transfer now every year? We're back with that next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Andersen is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Autoplex. We are expanding our services with our brand new state-of-the-art auto repair shop located right behind our lot, 123 Omaha Street. Gateway Tire and Alignment. That's right, Rapid City. We're now your one-stop shop for everything auto-related. From routine maintenance to major repairs, our team of expert technicians has you covered. Plus, with our state-of-the-art equipment, you can trust that your vehicle is in the best possible hands. Visit Gateway Tire and Alignment and see why nobody beats a Gateway deal.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows dip down to about 27. Tonight, under partly cloudy skies with a slight chance for isolated showers. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance of rain showers. Tomorrow, 50, cloudy skies. Slight chance for rain showers mixing with then changing to snow. Tomorrow night, lows around 31, cloudy. A dusting of snow Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 37 degrees.
Hop into Easter brunch at the Box Elder Event Center on Sunday, April 20th from 10 to 2. Indulge in a brunch buffet full of favorites like Eggs Benedict, French toast, salmon, beef tips, and so much more. The kids will love the bounce houses, face painting, balloon art, and photos with the Easter Bunny. Heroes save 20%. Military, first responders, and teachers use exclusive coupon codes. Reservations are required. Grab your tickets now at thebox.live.
Are you thinking about starting or expanding a business? At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, our dedicated business lending team focuses on understanding our members' unique needs and truly wants to help them succeed. From the loans to get your business off the ground to the accounts to keep it running, we offer unique products with your business's best interest in mind. Learn more at bhfcu.com or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is a member-owned, not-for-profit.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Wednesday edition. It's always a great day in South Dakota. South Dakota Sports Talk Show. What's on tap tonight? Jake Shapiro's coming up from Denver. I'm going to get into this discussion about Nikola Jokic. He had 61 points last night, 10 boards, 10 assists. If that was like Steph Curry, LeBron James, somebody like this, everybody just went crazy today. and instead it's like, I don't know. That's pretty good. Jake Shapiro covered the game last night. Jokic and the Nuggets lose to the Wolves in double OT, but Jokic, a historic night. DenverSports.com. Jake Shapiro is on tap. What's on tap? Brought to you by the new Campfire Bar. Mr. Liquor, Rapid City off Catron Boulevard. The new Campfire Bar. 20 local brews on tap and live sports. Inside South Dakota's best and biggest liquor store. Selection unlike any other. Mr. Liquor and the new Campfire Bar. Watch your favorite team there in the Final Four Saturday night. Just off Catron Boulevard, Rapid City. Okay, let's get to our question of the day. Some reaction coming in. I just want you to be honest tonight. I want you to be honest when players are transferring. Now, every year I think this is going to happen even more and more at SDSU and USD. Some of the programs were immune here for a little while. Football didn't see many transfers. You know, the famous Tucker Kraft stuck it out, stayed, and Mark Gradowski stayed his final year. He left now this year, but put in another year. So SDSU has lost big-time men's basketball players. USD is losing players on the basketball side every year. Just lost their defensive player of the year in football this past year. So when you lose players, as a South Dakota sports fan, does that make you upset in this world, this transfer portal world today? My brother played D1 football at Wyoming. And so I always follow Wyoming in the Mountain West. And I look at it, and Wyoming gets hit a ton. Now, meaning from the transfer portal. There's guys that come in, Craig Bowl used to develop, and they'd leave, and things like this. This would be like Josh Allen when he was at Wyoming. In his final year, he comes back. He's now really, really good, and he heads out and goes to Ohio State. I mean, that would be a killer. That would be a killer for a Wyoming program. So this is what I mean by, I think as a fan, you kind of, people say, well, they're too emotional and this and that. You just got to understand players are going to leave. Well, I think you could still get upset about that. I don't know how you just say, well, it is what it is. I think it's a frustrating part of this. Players can leave any time for any. I mean, there's no rules on transferring anymore. There's unlimited amount of money from the big schools. So how are you supposed to build, develop, and have a team at the mid-major level? I mean, that's all I'm saying is I understand the reality, but I'm not a fan. So Josh Allen at Wyoming, he wouldn't have come back for his final year. The transfer portal was rolling then. What do you think Josh Allen would have got? He could have got a lot of offers. He would have been gone. And you're just supposed to go, well, that's just that's just the way it is. Do you get upset as a South Dakota sports fan seeing players now transfer every year at SDSU and USD? And we're not talking about just, this guy who averaged 2 points a game. I mean, the Jacks just lost Zeke Mayo last year, and Kyle. That's a killer. If Zeke Mayo and Kyle are on the Jacks team, they're going to the tournament, might even compete. Seriously. So, big deal to me. What do you say? Do you get upset as a sports fan when players transfer out of SDSU USD every year now? 605-720-1067. Man, it's a tight vote tonight. I'm a little surprised. I thought people would say, yeah, I get upset about it. I mean, you can get upset. It's like, I can get upset, but I can still understand, well, that's just the way it is. I'm not going to stop being a fan of the team. That's what I'm saying. I can get upset, but I'm not going to get apathy. That's what people are talking about today. People are saying, eventually, people are just going to check out of the Jacks and the Yotes, and they lose players, and we don't know the team anymore, and we're just going to check out. I don't buy that. I can be passionate and get upset about it, but I'm not going to check out. The fact that I am upset about it is a good thing. But here's the vote. 50% say, I really don't like it. It upsets me when players leave SDSU, USD every year now. 50% of you say, it doesn't bother me. That's what I'm surprised by. 50% of you say it doesn't bother you. Listener text, 605-720-1067. How you can text the show tonight. Listener text, fans are going to have to root for the name on the front of the jersey. It's the new world. We move for better paying jobs all the time. Yeah, unless you have a contract. There's companies that have contract. In the broadcasting business, they used to do these a lot, the non-compete. So the non-compete, I couldn't leave a TV station and go over to another one in that same market. This is a non-compete factor. So in college sports, it's, who cares? You're good to go. Listener text, it doesn't bother me. You just got to try and survive in this life without the D1 money. You got to survive the D1 life without the D1 money. Yeah, tell that to the coaches. Tell that to the coaches. Listener text, losing players, you got to get used to it. I played college ball in the 80s. If I could improve my NIL by switching schools, I would have done it. Free enterprise. As a former player, I'm not upset, but I still love my team as well. Yeah, I asked Matthew Morris yesterday, South Dakota State senior now. He went to Wisconsin initially, right, and then came to SDSU, and he's been a part of the team now looking at the last couple of years, and players have left. I mean, that's where he was at. He's not going to say, oh, it's terrible, it's the worst thing ever. He said, we gotta stay dialed in here. If the guys that really want to be here, it's great, and if they don't, then you let them move on. My point is, I am upset about the easiness, the convenience to do it, and the unlimited amount of money that teams can steal mid-majors all the time. I mean, that's what I'm upset about. The unlimited amount, no rules, no regulations, nothing, no guardrails. And so the SDSUs and the USDs, they're just out of luck. That's what I'm upset about. Into the second hour tonight. Let's get going here. I'm going to go to a high school sports story. Matt Kearney, the producer of the Nate Brown Show, saw this news come out, and I just wonder, in South Dakota high school sports, what do you do when a school doesn't have any players left for teams? What do you do? I'll tell you about this school and this story next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Our locally owned Ace stores are committed to helping our neighbors and our communities. And because we're in the neighborhood, we can deliver almost anything you need. So shop in store or online for whatever your home or yard needs. Choose from top brands like Milwaukee, Steel, Traeger, and Benjamin Moore. Then pick up in-store, curbside, or we'll deliver your order right to your home. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know how to help. See acehardware.com for details.
Village Heart dinner rolls are a must for the upcoming holiday. Getting together with family and friends is great, but to be honest, I really look forward to the big holiday meal. And whether we roast a turkey or ham, we always have plenty of Village Heart dinner rolls. They're great with the meal, but they also make the best little turkey and ham sandwiches the next day. Baked locally and delivered fresh daily, Village Heart dinner rolls are the natural choice for holiday meals.
If you want the peace of mind that your next pre-owned vehicle is the best it can be, you want Honda True. And you only find it at Danny Manholt Rushmore Honda. Our Honda certified pre-owned vehicles are thoroughly inspected and backed by 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, up to 2 complimentary oil changes, 24/7 roadside assistance, inspection report, and 3-day exchange. You simply can't buy the wrong vehicle. Search our inventory at honda-true.com or see us at Denny Manholt Rushmore Honda.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
It's game on at the #1 sportsbook in Deadwood. With next-level game packages at the BetMGM Sportsbook, Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort has the perfect spot to watch college basketball this season.
Hit that one from the parking lot!
Cheer on all your favorite teams in a comfortable lounge lined with wall-to-wall television arrays.
And that's it! What a comeback!
Seat packages include free play and dining credit to take your game day to the next level. Get yours today at tinlizzy.com. And don't miss a single moment of the NCAA basketball tournament at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort.
Hey, sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street is the newest indoor sports facility featuring 4 full courts. E3 Sports is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships and court rentals are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org. All right, we're talking with Britt Wicked at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy for an Elevate Performance Health Minute. Right now, it's baseball season, and one thing I know with baseball, I hear about this overused shoulder injury.
It's something that we see a lot clinically. Repetitive motions place ourselves at an increased risk for sustaining an injury, especially if it's a movement that hasn't necessarily been done a lot previously.
And one thing, some people say, well, you just have to rest, but not all the time.
Yeah, so it's good to take a break in a sense. But that doesn't necessarily mean do nothing at all. If you're experiencing symptoms like that and having soreness with throwing in particular, that's a good time to be seen by a physical therapist to try to assess the root cause of your symptoms. You could have weakness in the rotator cuff. We could have some shoulder instability. There's a lot going on with throwing, so it's important to have that thoroughly assessed to get you back on the road to recovery.
Get started at elevateperformancesd.com.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, here we are. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. This hour driven by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned, start at SummitAutoGRP.com. Why? Oh, it's car buying built around you, from the right treatment, the right selection, the right pricing, the right financing, all the way through, step-by-step car buying built around you. Experience the Summit difference. Start at SummitAutoGRP.com. And the Nate Brown Show, second hour, ready to go. Wayne Sullivan's going to join us later tonight. Wayne Sullivan, longtime St. Thomas More head football coach, just inducted into the South Dakota Coaches Hall of Fame. Just got inducted into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. Congrats to Coach. We'll talk to him about how his career shaped up, what it's like now being out of the game. He was at St. Thomas More over 30 years. Wayne Sullivan coming up. We'll go to Denver straight ahead. Jake Shapiro's on tonight from denversports.com. A couple of things to hit on. Nikola Jokic, historic night last night, and you didn't hear much about it. I mean, a little bit. If you're a sports fan, you kind of tune into stuff. This was an unbelievable accomplishment. We'd probably stop the presses for Steph Curry, LeBron James, somebody. I mean, we'd stop the presses. Jokic just, I don't know what the deal is. We'll break into that. Jake Shapiro covered the game last night. Nuggets, Wolves, denversports.com. If you want to be a part of the program, you can call us on the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline, 605-720-1067. 605-720-1067. 5 questions from Chris coming up. Are we ready? Get ready, Chris. We got 5 questions from our loyal listener, Chris, straight ahead. I want to get to this high school sports story, and I don't know the answer, but it's a really interesting story today. So you've heard us talk on this program about a little bit of the high school football landscape where there's small communities that have lost varsity football teams. Edgemont, South Dakota, Newell. So you've seen this. And then I even said there's successful programs from over the years that are really struggling. Colome. You go to the center of the state. Colome has had a successful football program. They don't have hardly anybody out anymore. They're on life support in football. And news comes out today that Colome is now not going to have a girls' basketball team next year or a boys' basketball team next year. So I understand small towns, small schools, and the demographics there and shrinking and the whole thing. What do you do in this scenario? I'm a South Dakota high school sports fan. I understand in the big markets, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, we don't have to worry about this. What do you do in this scenario if you're a South Dakota High School Activities Association looking at, Colome has barely had a football program. They've been up and down, kind of like, we're going to be able to play. Should we play JV? They're barely alive. And now they're going to cancel their varsity seasons for boys basketball and girls basketball this next year. Matt Kearney on the research side, great producer of the Nate Brown Show, finding this story because the girls basketball coach also resigned, and the boys basketball coach just resigned, and the activities director just resigned. This is kind of a Colome. This is a 4-alarm emergency somewhat, and the reason I say, what do you do in this scenario? One question I ask, do you have to force schools, towns that are kind of close to Colome to co-op here? Do you have to force Winter, Gregory, somebody like that, to co-op to keep the Colome student athletes going? Because they're gonna go, well, for girls basketball we got to go JV, and for boys basketball we're gonna go JV. So there's this line that you're going. Is that going to be okay? Maybe they can build their program back up and then hit the varsity again. I'm not sure. And so maybe we're not at the 4-alarm emergency yet. But you look at what's happened there in Colome. Football program, life support is barely going. Basketball's not going to have varsity. Girls basketball not going to have varsity. AD resigning. Girls basketball coach resigning. Boys basketball coach resigning. I asked that question, can you force schools to do the co-op to keep the Colome sports program alive? That's a tough one. Because they've asked Winter, Colome's asked Winter, can we do this? Can we co-op so we can have a football team, have our football players? Well, no, that would bump us up to 11A. Hey, Gregory, can we co-op here? That would bump us up from 9-man football to 11-man football. We can't do that. So then what's the answer for Colome? What's the answer? I don't know on that. I really don't know on that. And I wonder, I don't think you can, the Activities Association, I think, just going to have to take a look at it and say, what can we do here? They can't do much. I don't think it's feasible to tell a school district you have to do this because Gregory and Winter, whatever, they're their own school districts. They're looking out for their school district. And what happens with Cologne? You're just out of luck? Only other thing I'll say, and it doesn't help basketball, but six-man football. The six-man football discussion. We used to have it a long time ago in South Dakota. We brought that up. We've talked about it, six-man football. Would Edgemont play it? Yeah. Newell play it? Sure. There's probably more schools, and that's where you could tell schools, hey, you need to reach a certain number, otherwise you're going to be a six-man class. That's where you could create, from a football standpoint, here's six-man football. If you're at a certain number, you're playing six-man football. That's where the Activities Association could step in. But as far as the other sports, basketball, girls basketball, boys basketball, you just hope that they can get those numbers up. Centerville had to do this. Girls basketball, they didn't have a team here a while back. They didn't even have a team. They did build it back up, and now they've been a state contender, a state champion, as a matter of fact. So maybe it's not the end of the world, but it's something to keep an eye on. Coming right back with Jake Shapiro, live from Denver Sports, denversports.com. Historic night for Nikola Jokic. Why don't people realize it? Next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
City is a proud supporter of high school sports. Heritage Home Lending is your locally owned mortgage brokerage, specializing in VA home loans. At Heritage Home Lending, you get to work with local people, offering competitive financing for purchasing and refinancing. Heritage Home Lending is committed to helping our service members and veterans with specific expertise in VA home loans. For all your home loan needs, work with a local company that you can trust. Get started at heritagehomelending.sd.com.
I am here with Weston and Tanisha Chapman from Black Hills Tire.
We're the neighborhood shop for the whole town because we will pick up and deliver anywhere in town. We will do whatever we can to help anybody.
It's important to us that somebody can say like, hey, my mom needs something. They need this and I know you'll take care of them. I think that means more to us than anything is when somebody will say like, I need somebody in my family taken care of and I know you guys will take care of them. And that's just because that's community to us.
If we all help each other out, we can create this community together.
Check us out at blackhillstire.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows dip down to about 27 tonight under partly cloudy skies with a slight chance for isolated showers. Winds out of the northwest 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance of rain showers tomorrow. 50, cloudy skies. Slight chance for rain showers mixing with then changing to snow. Tomorrow night, lows around 31, cloudy. A dusting of snow Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 37 degrees.
Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet buys cars. You heard that right. We don't just sell cars, we buy them too. We make cash offers to purchase local cars, trucks, and SUVs every day. Tired of listing online? Tired of messages? Or just tired of making payments? Whatever the reason, make an appointment at rapidchevrolet.com for a no-obligation appraisal. It's fast and free. When you're ready to sell, we're ready to buy. At Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet, Rapid City.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Welcome back in. Second hour of the program, Wednesday edition of South Dakota Sports Talk Show. The Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Radio. Stream us all the time on X. At Nate Brown Show. If you're on X, follow the show. Watch us live every afternoon drive. At Nate Brown Show on X. And YouTube channel is live right now. The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. Jake Shapiro's on tonight, covering the Nuggets. Yeah, he covered this deal last night. What a deal. Nikola Jokic, 61 points, 10 boards, 10 assists. I mean, it's unbelievable. And there was some headlines on it, but I do feel like if it was a Steph Curry, a LeBron James, I'm not talking a 40-year-old LeBron, but just any time, I think this would have been a big topic all day long. But maybe I'm wrong. DenverSports.com. It is Jake Shapiro on the Nate Brown Show. Jake, how are you?
Good, Nate. Just trying to recover from a late night last night, and we're right back at it again in Denver with another hoops game tonight.
Okay, you tell me, the Jokic thing, you understand that he's not the star of stars and doesn't want to be that brand star. Is that why the national side of this said, yeah, 61 points, 10 and 10, that's pretty good? That's what I felt like today.
Well, you do sports talk, Nate, and so do I, and we both understand that the ending of that game overshadowed just about everything else that went in that game. You have a lightning rod conversation of do you go up with the layup or do you hold the ball, which is just great media fodder, and that overblows the game. At the same time, I know you just said if Steph Curry has a game like this gets talked about. I saw a lot of people talking about both Steph and Nikola's games last night. They were the first time in NBA history that two former MVPs had over 50 points on the same night. So I think there was a lot of love given, but I understand where you're coming from generally on the national angle. I think Nikola Jokic has been completely overlooked for his greatness. If you look at the start of his career, it's very similar to how LeBron James and Michael Jordan, the two greatest players of all time besides Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, have started their careers as well. He's not going to jump out the gym. He's not going to be in a State Farm commercial, but he has a massive shoe deal with a Chinese company, 361, and I think his marketing has gotten a little bit better over the years, and I think a lot of people have come to appreciate just his greatness, especially this year with him not only having the 60-point triple-double, but the first 30-20-20 in league history, and he had a 56-point game earlier this season as well, which was the career high at the time.
So here's the deal. That's what, people being hyperbolic here. It's like, is this somebody you can compare in the early careers of a LeBron James? Because they feel like you can't even go there. But by the looks and by the numbers, can you?
Well, yeah, and let's just do the Jordan thing, because I've done the Jordan thing a bunch. So Michael Jordan takes over with the Chicago Bulls in the mid-'80s, right? And the Chicago Bulls were a nowhere franchise. They had historically stunk. They're not like the other Chicago franchises that are historic franchises in their sports. The Bulls were an expansion team later. Nothing happens until Michael Jordan gets there. Michael Jordan's this amazing single-handed player, but until 1990, he doesn't win anything. And there's these questions, including in the NBA playoffs, where Bob Costas does this great diatribe questioning if Michael Jordan can win, if a 6'6" guard can dribble a ball, if that can work and win championships. This was going on literally a season Jordan won his first championship. Fast forward to Nikola Jokic. He takes over a nowhere franchise in the Denver Nuggets that have had no history, essentially. It's very niche history, right? And there's questions about Jokic, even in his MVP years. Does this really impact winning? He doesn't win that second MVP to Joel Embiid when the Nuggets win the championship, or the third MVP when the Nuggets win the championship that season, because people are like, well, this doesn't really matter. A center that's a point guard doesn't work at this level. And, the Nuggets go out and prove it. So I think since the championship happened, Nate, a lot of people have come around and started to appreciate Nikola Jokic. I saw Magic Johnson had a nice thing to say about Nikola Jokic last week. And you're starting to see people, I think, appreciate, especially the real basketball fans, the passing aspects and the IQ in his game that is just one of a kind and you will never see again. So statistically and kind of the career arc and the narrative of these two players' stories, I mean, Jordan's one of a kind player. There's a metric that basically accounts for game score. It's like fantasy points, essentially, right? And if you get a 40 or more, you've got an outstanding game is the way they look at it. Michael Jordan had 56 of those games in his career. LeBron is second all-time in NBA history with 33. James Harden's got 31. Nikola Jokic is in fourth place with 23, and Jokic is just 30 years old. So I think that tells you all you need to know.
Jake Shapiro on from Denver, covering the Nuggets, denversports.com. Historic night last night. 61 points, 10 boards, 10 assists for Nikola Jokic. Okay, really quick. Double overtime loss, and you mentioned how Russell Westbrook layup at the end would have put him up by 3. He missed. Then he fouls the shooter. They lose. Russell Westbrook, an effort guy, a gamer. What do people think in Denver about his role now as it gets into deep here, playoff time coming up?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited about the addition, getting a former MVP on a minimum contract. And, smart people would tell you it hasn't worked in other locations, but Nikola Jokic was the guy who signed off on this. And if Nikola Jokic wants it, maybe it'll work out. I've been personally against having Russell Westbrook here the entire time. I saw how the playoffs ended last year for the Clippers. I've seen his disaster in the last couple spots. The first half of the season, I thought this went really well. In the first half of the season, you can win a lot of games by putting effort out on the NBA floor because teams just don't have that much effort. But when it comes down to crunch time and it comes down to the playoffs, effort doesn't win you games. Execution and shot making wins games. And Russell Westbrook is horrible at both those things. Just horrible. And has been for the last couple months. And you saw a stark turn, especially last night, with the fan base in Denver just going off at Russ and believing that he is not going to be someone that's going to lead to success for the team. He is going to be someone that holds the Nuggets back from achieving their goals. And, to a man, I talked to almost every Nugget in the locker room last night about the game and the decision at the end to go off with the layup. A lot of them, most of them, agreed with that decision. So I think me and you, Nate, probably fall on the side of you pull that ball out, you get fouled, and you play on, and you try to make the team make plays. But, Russell Westbrook and a bunch of NBA players say that that's the right decision to make. It's hard to go against them.
Yeah. I thought it was an open layup, too. I know the D kind of got back there a little bit, but if you watch this, the Nuggets go down in dramatic fashion last night in double overtime on a huge night for Jokic. Jake Shapiro on tonight. So the Nuggets are going to be down starters tonight. They're the 3 seed. How important are they playing this? How important is seeding here the rest of the way, 2 weeks left?
Yeah, I would tell you that home court advantage matters a lot, and I'd go off on this thing about telling you how it matters and such. But the Nuggets lost the Game 7 on their home floor in the second round last year when they held a 20-point lead. So I don't think home court matters this much to these guys. They've also struggled at home the most this year out of any year where Jokic and Murray have been, predominantly healthy. So I look at this season with the Nuggets, and I look at it as not that the seeding in terms of what number they get as the most important, but the matchups. And right now, if they got the 2 or the 3 seed, they would basically avoid Oklahoma City in the first 2 rounds. I think that's essential for the Nuggets, and if they stuck in the 3 seed right now, they'd meet Memphis, who just fired their head coach, and then they could face Houston, who's a young team, in the second round. So I think that's the ideal matchup for the Nuggets. I will say they do have their final game of the season against the Houston Rockets, and that game is not only potentially to tie in the standings, but it also will be the tiebreaker as those two teams are tied 1-1 in their matchup this year. So the Nuggets could do some shifting, and obviously the Lakers are right behind them as well.
Okay, I want to shift really quick. I know you're covering Nuggets tonight. Let me get your read on the draft coming up at the end of the month. Shedeur Sanders, reports say he could be falling a little bit. What do you think about Shedeur Sanders? What do you think is the real story with him and the NFL draft?
I think there's too many teams atop the draft that are absolutely desperate to have a quarterback, and maybe Shedeur is a lesser prospect than the 5th prospect last year in the draft. I don't know. That's not for me to decide. What I will tell you is Shedeur is a tough kid, an absolute gamer, comes from a football pedigree, and he makes a lot of really good throws, like really accurate throws. Maybe he's not got the strongest arm. And to me, the staring contest at the top of the NFL draft is trying to get someone to blink so Shedeur Sanders falls to some team that wants him. I think there's more teams that want him, and maybe it's the Raiders a little bit down the road. Maybe they want a Geno Smith mentor situation with Shedeur. I don't know. But I think this is a situation where it's manufactured, and I think we're going to see on Friday at CU's Pro Day just how good Shedeur Sanders looks throwing to his guys.
Okay, so you covered it. You watched a lot of CU. Are you going to hang your hat that Shedeur Sanders is a good NFL QB?
I think his plus side is to be an average NFL QB. I personally don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a star in the NFL in terms of his play. He will be with his off-the-field stuff. I wouldn't want him personally as my franchise quarterback. But again, like I said, there's teams so desperate to top the draft that they're going to take the chance and hope that Shedeur turns into that franchise quarterback. And I, for one, also don't think Cam Ward is a franchise quarterback. I don't think there's a franchise quarterback in this draft. And if I had the number one pick in this draft, even if I needed a quarterback, I'm going Travis Hunter all day, all night. That guy is an absolute beast. I saw him up close, and he is a one-of-a-kind football player, and you'll never see anything like it again. And even if you only play him on offense half the snaps or 25% of the snaps, the impact he's going to have on both sides of the ball and on your team and on your locker room, I think, is greater than any other player in this draft, although I'm a big Abdul Carter fan as well.
Jake Shapiro, good stuff tonight. DenverSports.com, where you can find his work covering the Nuggets as they make the playoff push, the 3 seed right now. Jake, good to have you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Nate. Talk soon.
Appreciate your time. Jake Shapiro on tonight from Denver. His work is DenverSports.com. Part of 104.3 The Fan, live covering the Nuggets, San Antonio tonight in Denver. So let me get this straight. Nikola Jokic, to me, is not very mainstream. Is it because of the Nuggets? Is it because the NBA maybe isn't as mainstream as 90s NBA? I do think it's because Nikola Jokic also, people don't know him. I think people don't know him. I relate it to like I'm looking at this saying, I think Mike Trout, everybody tells me Mike Trout was the best of the best of the best. And I hardly watched Mike Trout. I mean, I don't know if it was because of the Angels. I'm not watching Angels baseball. I think the country's not that engaged with the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic is the Mike Trout of the NBA. That's what it feels like to me. Great player. I mean, unbelievable. Might be one of the best all time. And seriously, if you look at it, I've watched him a lot because I watch Nuggets games around here. And I've seen him live, and I mean, it's amazing. Not flashy, none of that stuff. For the people that complain about the NBA, Nikola Jokic is the guy that you would love. So skilled, so good. In the post, outside, fundamentally sound. I mean, it's just wild. And people are like, I don't know. I mean, Nikola can't get that much hype at all. He's the Mike Trout of the NBA. That's what it feels like. Hey, let's get to this right now.
It's time for 5 questions from Chris on the Nate Brown Show.
Busy tonight, man. We got to knock this down on a Wednesday on the Nate Brown Show. Our loyal listener, Chris, sends me 5 questions. I've got 5 answers, I think, Chris. Here we go. 5 questions from Chris. Question 1. Reports circulating that the NHL could expand, and 2 of the new teams in the NHL could be located Houston and Atlanta. This would be a 3rd try for the NHL to put a team in Atlanta. Do you think it's smart for the NHL to try this for the 3rd time, a hockey team in Atlanta? I don't know why they, don't support hockey there. It's a huge market. Huge market. It's a good sports town. So, I mean, if I'm the NHL, I'm like, if we're expanding somewhere, yeah, Atlanta would be on my list, even though they've tried it a couple of times. I'd try it again, Chris. Try it again. Question number 2. Major League Baseball season just beginning. There's an 80-game suspension for Jurickson Profar, the Braves. He just signed a big contract, 3 years, $42 million. He's not going to be able to play till June 29th. Do you think all baseball contracts should be null and void if a player is found to have done the PEDs? That's a nice question, Chris. Should you null and void the contract? Well, part of the contract, part of the year that he missed, I guess. Like, break that down. Could you do that? Guess what? The players will never go for it. So these suspensions are strict now. 80 games. I mean, it's half of the year. They're strict. The players will never go for it. I would like to see it. He shouldn't have that money, and he's sitting out half of the year. I mean, nobody would think that's right. The players will never go for it. Question number 3. Majority of March Madness fans can say that the tournament is changing to more of a tournament of elite D1 schools. The idea of Cinderella winning and going to the Final Four doesn't happen anymore. To avoid upsetting the smaller D1 schools, should the NCAA consider a mid-season tournament for the mid-major schools? I don't think so. I think it's where we're at. March Madness is March Madness. You hope you're going to get some upsets first week still. The mid-season, mid-tournament, people are going to go, what is this? I mean, we even do that at the NBA. It's like they have an in-season tournament. It's like the color of the floor is green, and it's like, what are you doing? All right. Question number 4. 5 questions from Chris. Nate, the NBA regular season ends in 2 weeks. The Western Conference, Oklahoma City's leading. The Rockets and Nuggets fighting for second and third. You think the NBA could be worried about not big markets in the NBA Finals? What about Oklahoma City and Cleveland in the NBA Finals? Should the NBA be worried if it's the Thunder and Cavs? One answer, yes. I've watched these teams. The Thunder's good. I mean, Chet Holmgren, they're good. But you don't want to watch Oklahoma City and Cleveland. I mean, the country, they want Yankees, Dodgers. They want Celtics and whoever. I mean, they just do. They want Celtics, Lakers. You're not going to get it. But Thunder, Cavs, should the NBA be worried about that or for NBA Finals ratings? Yes. Question number 5. ESPN's opening day baseball game drew the best viewers. Yankees, Brewers, 2 million viewers. Highest number since 2018. What do you think happened with the spike in viewers with the Brewers and Yankees? I know what happened, Chris. You know what happened? Why they got so many people to watch that opening day game on ESPN? The torpedo bats. End of story. 5 questions from Chris in the books. Wayne Sullivan, now a Hall of Fame coach, just inducted into the South Dakota Coaches Hall of Fame. Wayne Sullivan, live next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Pitch a tent or just look good doing it. Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear. Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Building projects can be complex. The risks are great and time is money. Consolidated Construction of Rapid City simplifies the process by being your advocate, guiding you through funding, design, and construction. They manage the players and the schedule and marry the design to your budget so you get the most for your investment. They promise an energizing experience before, during, and after construction. It's not enough that you get a quality building. They pledge you'll experience quality every step of the way. Consolidated Construction. One call to build.com.
Hey Rush fans, it's Rob at the Firehouse Skybox. We are your official home for Rapid City Rush hockey. When the Rush are playing on the road, join other Rush fans at the Skybox and enjoy some great food and cheer on your Rush. We show every Rush away game and we'll have Rush-themed giveaways every road trip. You'll get a chance to win great Rush prizes with the purchase of a drink or food item. The Skybox has the best food and the best Rush game day experience. Go Rush!
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their number one priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Glad you're here. Hope you've had a great day. Wednesday edition of the program, 2 hours. Thought-provoking sports talk. If you missed parts of the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. It's all there, from local to regional to national. Try and get you covered each time out. Hit the Nate Brown Show podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You've got us on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Wherever you get your podcast, search the Nate Brown Show, and you've got the show. Let's go South Dakota High School football. Hey, he's South Dakota High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Famer. I knew it. I knew it. South Dakota Coaches Association Hall of Fame inductee just got in over the weekend. Longtime St. Thomas More head football coach Wayne Sullivan joins us live. Coach, congrats. I could have put you in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. What took so long?
Well, again, it was an honor, very humbling, and just the years that when you came and then you started doing our games and our interviews, Nate, you're the Hall of Famer in my book, but I got very blessed and, very, very humbled, like I said.
Well, it's big congratulations. What a career. Spent a long time at St. Thomas More. A lot of coaches don't stay in the same place. A lot of coaches don't stay with it. Why did you stay with it over 30 years?
Well, it was my passion. It still is. I hope one day to get back into it, but it was just something I absolutely loved. Getting ready every week, your opponents, watching the players grow into fine young men, and they still keep in contact with you, and watching them grow with their families. It's just something that I just love to do, and I was very blessed to have a very supportive wife and a family, and, it just worked out really well for me.
But how did you stay, out of the negativity? Coach, there's a lot of stuff that happens. Playing time, politics, there's a lot of stuff. How did you stay in it? Hey, I want to coach. I want to build a program. How did you stay in that mode and not get sucked out?
I think one of the main things was being consistent. One of the legendary coaches that I played for and worked under, Dave Plouffe, one of his famous lines was always, dinosaurs went extinct because you never adapt. And I think I was able to adapt, but yet keep our same high morals for our teams, expectations, and the boys knew that we cared for them, our coaching staff. I think if you can do that and continue, to make sure your expectations are known, and this is what, if you're going to be part of our program, this is what we do. Blessed to have a bunch of families and coaches and players that bought in, and I think that really helped our success.
Wayne Sullivan on tonight, South Dakota Football Coaches Association. He just got into the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame coach now, just inducted over the weekend. Well-deserved. I remember all of these games. You made the run to the Dome and all of those successful. I mean, you had a stretch there, the early 2000s, where you were there every year. So I'm going to ask you, what's your top memories, accomplishments from the football side?
Boy, that's a tough question. Probably some of the greatest memories at the very beginning, just turning the program around, getting your first winning season in our third year, making the playoffs for the first time. And then what people need to understand, too, is, the semifinal game is probably the most pressure-filled game to try and get to the Dome, because we'd been there 4 times before and then finally cracked to get to the Dome, and that was probably one of the highlights of my career, finally winning against Wagner, a heck of a game, 9-7, to go to our first Dome championship game. But, there were some other games where, we get pounded by Bell by 30, then play them in the playoffs 2 weeks later and end up winning that thriller 16-13. Just some of those things stick out. And it's funny you say that, because as a coaching staff, we meet every year and before the season and always talk about some of the top 5 games and our 5 moments. But those probably are the ones that you really, hold true.
I want to ask you about what still sticks in your craw. What still? What's a couple of things? Oh man, we want this back. There was a couple of games at the Dome where you had that elusive state title just slip away.
Well, the 2 of them ring true right now. The first time we played Aberdeen Roncalli, we were up 14-13, about a minute to go, and they end up scoring. We unfortunately didn't get a punt off. And they'd run the clock out because they didn't throw the ball a lot, and we had that. And then the other one was against Parkston in the Dome. One of their best players ends up being able to lay on the carpet for 20 minutes because he had a cramp, and we had all the momentum going. So 2 out of those 6 trips, those were the ones that stick in the craw and always talk about and kind of comes to mind, and I appreciate you bringing that back up because now I'm angry. But no,
I knew you still talk about those. I was there for those. I knew you still talk about those. Tough. A lot of wins, a lot of runs to the Dome. You built STM up from nothing into a power football program. Let me ask you, Coach. You've been out of it just a little while. Is high school football? Has high school sports changed? Has it changed? How has it? You say you want to get back in, or is it the same building a football program like you always have?
To answer your first question, yeah, I think it's changed. Unfortunately, I think with social media, other things that kids can get into, so many other distractions, I think that's hindered it a little bit. And, you see some rosters that have dwindled over the years. I think the High School Association, and you've mentioned this on your show quite a few times, I think they should do some reclassification so some of these programs can build back up, see some success. And that way I think more kids would be interested in playing. You got a lot of kids walking the halls that need to play. And that's any sport. But, I think that's probably one of the major things. But if I were to get back into coaching, and not necessarily I would want to be a head coach, but just being able to work with the athletes, trying to get them ready for manhood, to be good husbands and fathers. I think that's probably one of the big things for them to learn discipline, commitment. That's what I'm missing right now.
What are you most proud of, Coach? Hall of Fame induction. You look at all the numbers and all the wins and all of that success. What are you most proud of from the time being a head coach at STM?
A couple things stand out. One, again, like I said, still having hundreds of players still reach out, text them all the time, or they reach out and call, or if they're in town, we meet up. That's probably the relationships with those young men. Second is probably being able to coach my 3 boys. That was amazing.
Wayne Sullivan on tonight, South Dakota Coaches High School Association Hall of Famer. He got in over the weekend. Congrats to you. It's been a lot of fun watching the career and being a part of it, covering a lot of fun St. Thomas More football games. I appreciate you coming on, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you so much. And just real quick, I'd like to thank all the coaches I've had. And again, back to the families and players. It's not just me. It takes everyone. And so, again, I just want to thank them all for all their time and their commitment, and also to you, Nate. Appreciate you getting me on tonight.
Well, I appreciate your time. What a career. A lot of fun. Great football coach. Good to have him. Wade Sullivan on tonight, former St. Thomas More head coach. Long time. And I said, coaches like Sullivan and some of these others, staying at one place, coaching that long, staying with it, building. I don't know if you're going to see that anymore. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to see that anymore. So I think it's the commitment and the building of the program. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Wayne Sullivan, longtime St. Thomas More head coach, just inducted into the Hall of Fame at the South Dakota Football Coaches Association over the weekend. Good to have him on the Nate Brown Show. We come right back with who's hot and who's not. The NCAA just made a new ruling. Are they still involved here? Yes, they just made a new ruling. They do not want this to happen in spring football. They're going to lay down the law. Can you believe it? That's next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in South Dakota, who do you meet? When you're working for a mover and shaker with strong ties to our community, who are they? When you encounter a group of people eager to roll up their sleeves, who are you most likely to work with? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Taking the initiative, being a good teammate, sacrificing personal glory for the greater good. These are qualities we expect of our leaders, and they're all being cultivated in the high schools right here in South Dakota. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Cadillac Jacks is Deadwood's exclusive home of the Roaring Riches Jackpot. Just be actively playing your favorite slot machine with your club card engaged for your chance to win. The Roaring Riches Jackpot starts at $7,500 and must hit by $10,000. Plus, you can keep up to the minute on the current Roaring Riches total on your Cadillac Jacks mobile app. Roaring Riches has already paid out $2 million. Anyone at any time on any spin. You could be the next to win. Only at Cadillac Jacks Gaming Resort.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding door and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Partly cloudy tonight with a slight chance for rain showers changing to snow. Lows around 27, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance for showers tomorrow, 50. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow night. Slight chance for rain showers mixing with and changing to snow. Lows around 31. A dusting of snow Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 36 degrees.
Shop the region's largest selection of spirits, wines, and beers at the best prices today at both Mr. Liquor locations in Rapid City. Save $7 on Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, now $23.99. 750 bottles of Jefferson Bourbon reduced $5, now just $29.99. Or take advantage of special pricing on Old Forester Whiskey Row Series Bourbon. Experience the new Mr. Liquor 2 next to Walmart off Catron, or the original location on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
All right, who's hot and who's not on a Wednesday night on the Nate Brown Show. Good stuff tonight. Thanks for listening. Local, regional, national guests. Good stuff across the board. And who's hot and who's not every night at this time brought to you by the Pizza Ranch, your home for everyone's favorite buffet. Your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. Get into their buffet tonight, open till 8. Who's hot and who's not? What do we got tonight? Hey, some news coming out of the Big Sky Conference. Sacramento State, I thought they were messing around. People were talking a big game. Sacramento State is applying to go FBS independent. FBS independent. So look out. I mean, people were talking smack about Sacramento State. Oh, yeah, they got all this NIL money. Oh, yeah. They have done it. Sacramento State is applying to go FBS independent for football. Look out. Sacramento State. I guess we'll follow that. We'll see where that lands. Speaking of college football, let's go to my who's not tonight. The NCAA still thinks they have control. The NCAA has issued a ruling. They are denying joint spring practices for teams. So Deion Sanders had this idea, why don't we play each other? Why don't we do some joint practices, have a little scrimmage like for spring games? Why don't we just do like the NFL? Oklahoma State wanted to do it. Mike Gundy said he wants to do it at Oklahoma State. Deion wants to do it. Syracuse wanted to do it. The NCAA says today, denied joint spring practices. Ooh, really tough. They're going to hang on to any control they have, right? They're going to hang on to it. Do we care what the NCAA says? Just do it anyway. Thanks for listening to the Nate Brown Show. We're back tomorrow. The podcast going up right now.